Hello, horse girls and guys, welcome back. Feels like it's been a while since I've talked to you, even though it's only been like 4 days. But it feels like it's been like a week. Like I almost felt behind yesterday, panicking about I have to do this episode today because it feels like it's been a while, but it hasn't. I hope you all had a good week. Happy Monday, and hope you had a good weekend. If you didn't get out to ride this weekend, there's always the coming weekend. But luckily, we had some good weather where I'm at, so we were able to go out and ride. I was gonna say something else, and now I don't remember what it was. It's usually how that works for me. Sorry, I just got done eating some animal crackers, and they like stick in my teeth. Which it brings me into one point that I wanted to make at some point today. I have genuinely thought about getting into this trend of like people eating on camera. I don't know if it comes up in anyone else's feed, but multiple times a day I come across videos of mostly girls, honestly, eating on camera. There's a lot of Asian girls that do it. I don't know why, but that's what comes up in my feed. Eating like meat and noodles. And then there was one girl I saw on Instagram the other day that just crunches like vegetables and just eats on camera. And these girls get like thousands and thousands of views. And I'm like, that's all I had to do all along. All I had to do was just film myself eating. But nope, here I am. We're talking about horses. So I hope you guys all had a good weekend. But me and my friend Melanie, went camping this weekend and trail riding this weekend. So that was a lot of fun. We had a local club that hosted a big trail ride on, I don't know if the guy like organizes or like is an admin to this club or not, but he hosts a trail ride, I think every year on his property. And it's a really big ride. I know it's very well known, like a lot of people come from all over to go on it, but Saturday there was probably 100 horses there. It was crazy. There was so many people. Well, I guess it wasn't that crazy. It wasn't as crazy as it has been before, but there was a lot of people on that ride. So luckily I brought Sugar, my old reliable horse, and she took it like a champ. Yeah, she wasn't phased at all, so that's always good. But yeah, we had a lot of fun. We had some drinks. We talked and we rode our horses. And it sounds like a ideal weekend to me. The club that hosted this ride, like they also provided like dinner on Saturday night and breakfast Sunday morning, which was really cool. We just went ahead and slept in the back of Melanie's car because we weren't sure if it was going to rain. For one, there was chances for rain, so we didn't want to get stuck in tents and then it would rain. But it was a nice weekend, and it was actually really comfortable in the back of her car, which I was kind of surprised about. But I just posted that vlog from that trail ride on my channel yesterday, so if you haven't seen it, go check it out if you're on YouTube. Otherwise, yeah, go over to YouTube and check it out. But we had a lot of fun. It was a good time. There wasn't really too many drunk people there, luckily. The one time we went before, there was like some drunk people that were being kind of dumb, but this time there was not. So thankfully, we didn't have to deal with that. Some updates for you since the last episode. Dolly went to her new home, so Dolly is gone. She left on Friday. Today's Monday, so she left a few days ago. But she was a complete brat getting into the trailer for these people. I actually loaded her. She walked right on, and that was fine, but she just like was stamping and pawing and just being a total brat once she got in the trailer. But I mean, part of that's my fault. I didn't really trailer her anywhere. We trailered her once to a show, but other than that, she really just hasn't had to be in a trailer at all, so that's just gonna have to come with them riding her and taking her places. But she's off to her new adventure, and I hope that she works out for them. I hope that they give her a great home and they can enjoy her, and you know, she can just be loved and utilized there. Whereas here, she would have just probably not really done anything and just kind of existed. So I'm glad that you know, she rode really well for them. They came and looked at her earlier in the week, and she rode really well for them and behaved great. So yeah, go Dolly. I hope she works out for them. So other than that, not a whole lot has happened. Dillis, which is my client horse, if you've been following on YouTube, I have a client horse named Dillis, and he went on his first big boy ride outside of his pen. Melanie came over, I think on Thursday, and we went out and rode down the road a little bit, back and forth up and down our lane, and then we kind of went down into the field waterways. And Dillis has not been ridden in at least 5 years, which is what his owner told me. She couldn't exactly remember, but it's been at least 5 years. So he's been here 3 weeks, and he's been riding really well, like in his little area and stuff. So I wanted to challenge him a little bit. He just seemed like he was getting bored with the same routine that we've been doing. So I wanted to challenge him a little bit. And so I asked Melanie to ride with me, because it's always just safer, especially like with a client horse that you don't know their habits or anything. It's always safer to have somebody go with you. Plus, Dillis got to follow Sugar a little bit, just to keep him company and, you know, give him a little security. So we took him out, and he was actually really, really good. He pretty much led the whole way. He followed Sugar like when he was unsure, but for the most part, he led the whole way. He was super brave, did really well, didn't spook at anything, so that was really good. He got a little bit ornery like towards the end, and like he wanted to be done and was ready to be done, which was fine because that was probably the longest I had ever ridden him. So I corrected him a little bit and just made him ride back up to the house, and then we were done, and all was good after that. But he did really good. I was honestly kind of, I guess you could say I was a little bit nervous about how he would do, since I haven't taken him out into an open area yet and off the property yet. So good for Dillis. He did good. He got his feet done on Friday as well. I had our local farrier come out and do his feet. So he's all pedicured up and ready for the next couple weeks. He'll be here a couple more weeks, and then he goes home. But yeah, so we did that. In more recent news, what day? I don't remember what day it was this week. Might have been actually Friday. Yeah, I think it was Friday. I took Bebe to the vet. So if you guys have been following my YouTube channel, I haven't talked about it too extensively. I've definitely brought it up a few times on there. But this whole year, I have been struggling with Bebe's weight. And she is 17, 18 years old, so it's not like she's got a foot in the grave or anything. She's still fairly young. But she has always, her whole life, been a really easy keeper. She's never been a hard keeper. You could feed her grass, hay. The only time she's ever needed extra, like, high quality feed is during the winter time. If she's on just grass, hay, she needs like some grain, otherwise she'll start to lose her muscle mass and stuff. But other than that, she's never been a hard keeper at all. She's always been fat and happy and looked really good. So this spring, I want to say like May, it started in May, she started to lose weight, and it was kind of weird because I have pictures of her from April, like when it last snowed, and she looked totally normal. She looked totally healthy. And then in May, you can see she looks a little bit different, but not skinny. And then gradually over the summer, it's just gotten worse and worse. And it's kind of hit this point that it's just is what it is now. She's not getting any thinner, and being as I changed her diet, I think that's really helping her. So I changed her diet. She was getting grass hay, and now, well, all of the horses are getting just straight alfalfa hay. So protein should not be an issue for her. She's getting straight alfalfa hay. I put her on the highest fat and protein content grain that I could find, which is Neutrina's Pro-Force Fuel. So I put her on that, beet pulp, dewormed her several times. Like within a month and a half, I think I dewormed her like 3 different times. And that didn't really help. Like, I mean, I just didn't see any difference. So on Friday, I took her in to get her teeth done, right? Because that was like my last thing, like I haven't checked off the list, like would be her teeth. So we got her teeth done. I mean, I took her into the vet, told him kind of what was going on, and this is why we're here, is to get our teeth done, because if it's not her teeth, then I don't know what else is wrong with her. And that's kind of what the vets told me at our endurance rides, was that, you know, the biggest thing they see with weight loss, you know, it's not usually worms, it's usually teeth. It usually has something to do with the horse's teeth if they can't keep weight on. So it was time. I just made the appointment to go get her teeth done. We get there, and the vet, you know, sedates her, opens up her mouth, and she's like, honestly, her teeth aren't bad at all. Like, they're really not sharp. So, I mean, we can do them for you, but I don't think it's going to make any difference. Like, her teeth really are in good shape. So I was like, wow, okay, that's great. But why don't you just touch them up since we're here? You know, if she's got a couple areas that could use a file, then just touch them up while we're here. So they did that. They grinded off a couple areas, and then she had a little bit of a wave on one side of her mouth. So they just cleaned them up, and the vet was honest. She's like, honestly, I don't think that was anything to make her like lose weight. She doesn't have any ulcers in her cheeks. She has, I think they said she had a small hook forming on one of her back teeth, but otherwise, like, it probably wasn't going to be the reason she starts to gain weight. So I was like, well, okay, then I have no idea what is going on, because I've tried everything else. You know, I told them what I feed her and the deworming. And so I asked, like, do you think you should take some blood? Like, could looking at her blood or analyzing her blood have anything beneficial to it? And so she did that. She said they could definitely look at it, and maybe next week they could even send it out to have like her liver function and her kidney function analyzed, because that's something that they can't do in clinic. So I was like, whatever, you know, taking blood is honestly relatively cheap. So they took her blood, and we went home. So I took Bebe home, and she calls me on the phone, and she said, honestly, her blood looks totally normal. It's very unremarkable. There's nothing that sticks out about it. It's just normal blood. So have you thought about doing like a fecal analysis? And I honestly did think about bringing, you know, some poop so they could do a fecal, and didn't really, like, it didn't come up in conversation. And since I have been deworming her with different active ingredient dewormers, it wasn't like screaming at me to do a fecal. But I told her, like, I thought about it, but I mean, if you think we should do it, like, let's just, I mean, we can just do it. So she said, okay, yeah, like, just drop off some poop for us sometime. And it dawned on me, I was like, oh, well, there might still be some out in the road, because she kicked some out of the trailer when she got out of the trailer. And the vet, like, puts me on hold. She goes out to the street to get some poop, and she picks back up, and she's like, okay, this'll work. Let me run through this really quick. So another half an hour goes by or whatever. She calls me back, and she goes, so we did the fecal analysis, and her egg count is totally normal. Like, it's like, I think she said 250 eggs per gram, which is like a very normal, like, healthy amount. So very unremarkable. Nothing special about it. Worms aren't the problem. So I was like, are you serious? Like, I just want, like, I really wanted there to be something wrong so that we could go from there. But this wasn't wrong. This wasn't wrong. The fecal was fine. Like, her blood was fine. I was like, what? And this vet isn't my normal vet. Isn't my normal vet, but she works at the same office. So my normal vet is Dr. Samuelson. And she said, when he comes in on Monday, like, she'll run it by him, because she was kind of out of ideas on what else, like, it could be. So it's Monday. So they called me today and ran me through kind of what they talked about. So her blood, I think they're going to analyze still for like liver and kidney function and stuff. But Samuelson is more of a horse vet. This vet is more like a livestock vet. She's not as focused on horses. So Dr. Samuelson had discussed, I forget what it was called, but the short name, let me look it up. It's called MYH1, I think. Let me look it up on my computer here. Just because I want the actual name. MYH1 in horses. Myosin. No, that's a different thing. Hold on. It's called immune mediated mitosis, or myositis. Immune mediated myositis, MYH1 myopathy. So, Dr. Samuelson brought this possibility up to her. So we talked about this, which is I forgot how she put it. It's a gene. So what I'm looking up on Google, because I told her I was going to look into it anyway. I haven't gotten the chance yet today, but I need to do some reading on it. But it's a gene. There's two versions of it. It can be, she told me that it is a side effect of possible strangles. If she was ever exposed to strangles in her life, this is kind of like an old symptom from, it can just come up. It can pop up, like, even though she had it maybe years ago, and maybe it didn't even affect her that much, but she still is carrying the strangles virus, and it can pop up at any time, and she can still carry this gene. So she was explaining that it can come from something like that, but it can also be genetic. And so it comes from quarter horses in the genetic line. And Bebe, we're certain she is like at least crossed with a quarter horse. And so it's a deteriorative condition, basically. And Samuelson had brought that up because Bebe's deterioration mostly is in her top line. Like, that's basically where all of her muscle has lost or just like degenerated, and it's all along her top line and then a little bit on her hindquarters as well. Like, her butt isn't nice and round anymore. It's peaked, and it used to never be peaked. So that was what he noticed, and he noticed that this condition does that to horses a lot. And so he brought this up of her possibly having developed this condition from way back, if she ever carried strangles and this is now popping up with her age, or it's genetic from the quarter horse line. So I don't know, but there's a couple different options that we can do to look into it, which is a muscle biopsy, where they will take a chunk of her muscle to send it off to be tested. And I live in Iowa, so I think they're going to send it off to Iowa State and get it tested there. And then they can also test her for the genetic version by pulling out some of her mane. And as long as I get like 20 to 30 hairs that have the root on them, they can send that off to be tested that way. So the downfall of this is that Dr. Samuelson said that horses that typically develop this condition never really get that top line back. So it's gone now pretty much. I mean, most of the muscle has degenerated, but if this is what she ends up having, it's likely that she will never regain all of her top line muscle and look the same way she used to look. So that is kind of disappointing. But I don't really, there's nothing I can do about it, obviously, if this is what she has. The good news is that I have ridden her a few times this year. I haven't been riding her much because, like I said, I didn't know what the cause of her weight loss was, so I didn't want to override her. I didn't want to ride her too much and make her burn calories she didn't have. But I had ridden her a couple times at a couple endurance rides, and then I rode her around home. But the good news is that she was never sore. She never gave me any signs of pain, and she really has acted her normal Bebe self. So it's not like she is in pain or suffering, or this is affecting her personality at all. She's completely fine. And I mean, I'm feeding the crap out of her, so she's not starved either. So I think if the, I'll obviously discuss with Dr. Samuelson, but if it comes back that she does have this condition, I think I'm still going to keep riding her and keep her in work, obviously with properly fitting tack, because I don't want to make her sore or anything, because her backbone is a little bit more exposed than it should be. But if I can find tack that properly fits and, doesn't put additional pressure on her spine or anything, I would like to keep her in work, because at the endurance rides we went to this year, she did really, really well. If you guys keep up with the vlogs, she won our first race. She didn't place in the other one, but that was because we took too long. But our first race she won, and we did like 15 miles, and she pulsed back in completely normal, as if she had just been standing still all day. So she obviously wasn't being pushed past her limits. I obviously wasn't riding her too hard. She wasn't struggling at all. So I think as long as she shows me that she is pain-free and that she's happy and isn't developing any additional problems, then there's no reason to retire her, basically. But I'll discuss that all with my vet if the results come back. So I haven't sent in anything yet. I'll have to figure out how to pull her hairs properly. And then I have to make an appointment to get her biopsy done, but I'll keep you guys updated with that, and then I'll make a whole video about the results and stuff later. So yeah, that's been a thing. But the vet was telling me that it is more common, with this condition, to see quicker, like more rapid degeneration of the muscles, because that's basically what happened to Bebe. It's like she just woke up one day and all of her muscle just started wasting away, and after she was perfectly healthy all winter. So that's why I was so confused, like why she looked so bad, because she looked fine all winter. She was fine, she was fat and happy and looked great, looked totally normal, and then like in the warmer weather she started to lose weight and like all of her muscle just started to disappear. So that was really confusing, but I'm hoping to keep her on a high protein diet and just, prevent any further muscle loss. But yeah, so that's where we're at with Bebe. Hopefully we'll have some answers soon and we can get her back on track. But I never heard of this before. I have it pulled up on my computer, and I'm going to read a bit about it later today when I have time. So yeah, that's Bebe. Oakley is kind of lonely now that Dolly's gone. If you guys watch the vlogs on YouTube, I show you guys sometimes how Dolly and Oakley will just kind of stand at the corner of their pens, because their pens are right next to each other, and they'll just stand there at the fence all day and hang out. And now Dolly's gone, so Oakley is just like off alone in her pen, like, okay, I guess I'm by myself now. But when I'm done with filming this podcast, I'm going to go outside and I'm actually going to combine the two pens so that Oakley actually gets an upgrade to her pen, and she gets a big girl pen, and she can be right next to Luna and Bebe and Sugar too and hang out with them, so she's not totally by herself. I'm also putting up a lean-to. I started that last week, and I will be documenting it so I can make a video on it later, but I want my horses to have some sort of shelter this winter, and so I got some telephone poles. I don't have any of the lumber or anything yet. I'll have to buy that later, but I am putting up a lean-to all by myself, completely by myself. So we'll see how it turns out. I'm really putting my building skills to the test, but we'll see. As long as it like doesn't blow over in the first like small amount of wind that we get, I'll be happy. And I don't think it will. Like, I put the telephone poles like 42 inches into the ground. I'm going to cement them in. And I am under the guidance of my brother and my dad, who have built several buildings in their life, so I'm not like super worried. If I'm doing something detrimentally wrong, they'll tell me. So the topic of this podcast today is about party style trail rides, and I felt like this was an appropriate topic for today because me and Melanie just went on that huge trail ride this weekend. So party style trail rides, if any of you have ever been on a trail ride like this, let me know your experiences down in the comments. I have really never had much issue with it. I've only been on a couple. Like, it's not like I go to these massive, like, huge trail rides very often, but the last time me and Melanie went to this particular trail ride, there was some people that were just too drunk and had too much to drink and were just being stupid on their horses. So it's definitely a thing. Like, I wanted to bring Sugar to this trail ride, one, because she needed ridden by an adult, because she has been just practicing her rude bad habits with the lesson kids lately. So I was like, okay, we need to have a date. And also because she is my trusty, old, reliable, extremely seasoned trail horse. So I don't think that these types of trail rides are for green horses, although there were some people at this one this weekend that had said this is their horse's first trail ride or this is their horse's second trail ride. And so that was kind of surprising, but a few years ago when we went, there were some guys that just were clearly had too much to drink, and they were running their horses, and they ran up behind everybody else and spooked a bunch of people's horses, and some gal yelled at them. They sent my horse flying. They were wearing tutus, so I'm pretty sure they were like 3 sheets to the wind before the ride even started. And the one guy, actually, their trailer was parked not too far from our trailer, and I don't know what got into this guy, you know, the beer obviously got into this guy, and so he just unbuttoned his pants and decided he was just gonna pee right next to his trailer. But obviously we're all parked in this hayfield, and like it's a wide open space, and so me and Melanie were like walking back to our trailer, and we walk by him, and I looked away immediately, but Mel was like, wow, I'm so glad that's burned in my brain now, because she was not as lucky to look away as quickly as I was. Which is kind of bizarre, like, I feel like at these trail rides, because this weekend there was a guy that got off his horse a couple different times and just peed. And I was like, what the heck? He was riding behind me and Melanie for a while, and we stopped because some other people stopped, like, and that's just kind of the courteous thing to do in case somebody like fell off or something. So we stopped because some other people had stopped, and then this guy behind us just gets off of his horse and starts like undoing his belt, and me and Melanie look at each other and we're like, just go. I'm like, just go. So she kicks her horse and we just walk off because we were like, what the heck? Like, what is with people? I mean, come on. Like, I get we're all, you know, have our waters or, you know, are drinking other things, and you have to pee sometime. But take your horse like off behind a private bush or something, or off in the distance where we're not right next to you. I mean, my boyfriend doesn't even pee in the yard right next to me because, like, that's weird. So it was just kind of like, really, dude? I mean, come on. So there was one girl that I thought maybe had a little too much to drink. She just like was very loud, and maybe that's just her personality, but she was very loud and kind of all over the place, a little obnoxious to me. And she was like running her horse up and down the creek, because we had all stopped to take a break, and there was a nice big creek where horses could get a drink or whatever. She's like running her horse up and down the creek, like loping it. And these creeks were like rocky and stuff too. Like, Sugar took her sweet time getting across them because like they were very rough, rocky streams. Like, it's not like it was just sand or mud. So she was running her horse up and down that. And there was one other time we were going down kind of a steep hill, And there was one like big path that all the horses were going down, but there was another like little side path that I'm guessing the cattle had made, and she wanted to go down that because it was a shortcut. And her horse was like not doing it. For one, the branches were super low, but it was steep and all the horses were going the other way and there was rocks and stuff, but she was insisting she was going to get her horse down it. And so her horse is like backing up, trying to refuse, and she's trying to get her horse to go down. And I feel like you can always tell, like, when they've probably just had a little too much to drink, probably overdone it a bit, because it's like they're always having these issues with their horse doesn't want to do something, and they're kicking them, they're trying to get them to go, but they've got their beer in their one hand the whole time. Like, they're neck reining, which is fine, like reining with one hand, but the whole time their horse is fighting them. They've got their beer up in the air, like, they ain't setting down that beer. It's just like, put it in your saddlebag or something, or in your koozie, like your horn bag or whatever, and deal with your horse, because your horse is telling you he doesn't feel safe going down that. Or just don't go down it. Follow all of the other horses. Like, I don't know if she was trying to display her riding ability or feel tough in the moment or what, but I was just kind of like, okay, let's just go around that gal and keep my horse away from her. So that was really the only gal that I thought was she probably had more to drink than what we've had just on this ride. Other than that, the only thing that like was irritating me was people were riding so close, and Sugar doesn't like people up her butt at all. She doesn't tolerate it very well, and she will if I'm paying attention to her, you know, not letting her kick or bite anyone if I'm paying attention, but if I were to just not correct her at all, she would kick anybody that came up behind her butt. So, like, she was doing fine. She was trying to ignore it, and I was, you know, trying to make her ignore it. But these ladies just keep riding so close. Like, their horse's neck is, like, their chest is almost to Sugar's butt. And this happened, like, multiple times with different groups. But I just feel like it is normal trail etiquette, at least when I was growing up, that's what I was always taught. It's normal trail etiquette to not crowd other horses. Unless, like, I'm riding and my friend is riding my other horse and our horses are pasture mates or they're best friends or whatever, that's different because they're in each other's space all the time in the pasture. And in an unfamiliar area like that, they'll want to be close together. But your horses don't know my horses. You don't know my horse if my horse kicks or will lunge at you. And it's just rude to crowd somebody else's horse that you don't know. Like, your horse doesn't need to be breathing down my back. I mean, back up a few feet. Like, it's not that hard. So, that was the only other thing that was annoying me. But I have always, it's on like my bucket list of one of the things that I just want to do in my lifetime is go down to Eminence, Missouri and ride that trail ride. I've heard it is basically just a giant party, so, you know, there's that. Which I don't plan to ever like get trashed and go ride my horse like that. I don't think that that's responsible, of course, but I don't think it's fair to the horse or if it would be even safe or fun to do that. I don't mind having a few drinks. Like, me and Mel had some drinks because we were out there for 4 or 5 hours and stuff like that, but I'm not like drunk at the end of the ride. Like, I can get on and off my horse. I can take care of my horse and whatnot. So I don't mind party style trail rides, but as long as people aren't being stupid or crazy, then it's fine. Like, then I'm fine with it. Because, you know, I like to have fun a little bit too, you know, me in my 20s and whatever. And I don't think anyone else cares if people bring beer either, just like I said, as long as they're not being crazy or stupid or annoying everybody else. So, I don't know if any of you guys have ever been on one, let me know down below. And I know they can get really, really big. I've never been to the one in Eminence, but I've heard it is very, very big. But I've also never been to that part of Missouri, so I would love to just ride different rides and go to some more. There is another big trail ride coming up locally, I think. I haven't seen the Facebook event for it, but I know it's normally in the fall every year that I want to go to, so I'm keeping an eye out for that. Next month in September, mid-September, we have a camping weekend, actually at my friend Brooke's house. Brooke is my endurance friend, if you guys watch the endurance vlogs. And she is hosting a little, like, conditioning ride weekend at her place, and, you know, has invited people to, like, stay and camp and whatever. So I'm looking forward to that. And it kind of got me thinking, like, because I'm the trail boss for our local saddle club that we have, and I coordinate the club trail rides. Kind of got me thinking, like, what if we did like a camping weekend and we invited like club members, or even if you're not like a signed up member of the club and you're a local and want to come camp, and we can cook out and, like, you know, have drinks and whatever. You know, it might be fun for like our saddle club to host something like that, and even like at a public park. It doesn't have to be at somebody's private property, but something at one of those parks would be fine. Okay. Well, my podcast just stopped. Okay. I'm sorry, Anchor people, you just missed like 5 minutes of me talking because I'm still getting in the swing of this podcasting thing. And I don't know why the Anchor website on my computer just stops after 30 minutes, and I've been recording for now 36 minutes and 16 seconds. So I apologize. I was just talking about basically the trail rides coming up this year. We have one next month in September that we're going to do a little overnight camping weekend with my friend Brooke. And then I was talking about our saddle club, how I think it'd be fun if our saddle club hosted like a camping weekend for the members at just a local park. You know, we have some members that have some really, really nice private property that they host trail rides. Nothing overnight or overnight camping or anything, but they host really nice trail rides. But I don't know if anybody would want to do that with, you know, the liability or whatever. But it would be fun to just like have a hosted type of weekend by our saddle club, and maybe we can provide the food or whatever to cook out, but kind of like a saddle club bonding type of thing, which I think would be good because our saddle club in particular, for one, is one of the only ones that I know of that does trail rides. Most of them around here just do shows, but we have definitely a very like split membership group. I think we have like the people that just show and only come to the shows, and then there's people that only come to the trail rides and then there's some in between too that do both of them. But I'm definitely one of those people that primarily only goes to the trail rides. I do try to go to some of the shows, but it's just I'm not a shower, so like I just don't go to the shows very often, and I really only do the trail rides. But it would be nice to kind of have an event where, you know, people from both sides of the spectrum could come out. Otherwise, just like the trail riding people could bond and we could get to know each other a little more, because we have had some new members come in, especially since I started doing the trail organizing and kind of promoting our club to other people in the area, because a lot of people I notice on Facebook, they just want somebody to ride with. Or like a club to ride with, or they're always looking for trail riding events. And so I always put our group, you know, I always recommend our club, you know, if people are looking for a group to ride with, because I know I only have one friend, and that's Melanie. So like when she doesn't want to ride with me, I'm like, well, I guess I just won't ride my horses anymore because nobody wants to ride with me, and I'm not going to haul somewhere just to trail ride by myself, because that just seems kind of pointless to me. But I don't think I have anything else for you guys today. I guess I can read a comment. So let's look at a comment. Our comment of the day. Ugh, it never updates then. Let's go to my last podcast episode. I'm gonna put my computer on silent. Alright, I'm pulling up the comments now. Maybe. This is really weird, you guys. Like, when I get on YouTube, on my browser, like on my computer, it pulls up no comments. Like, there's no comments on this video or there's no comments on this video. And I know there's comments on it. Like, it literally says on my YouTube studio, comments 6. So why can I not see them? I don't get it. We'll just go to the video and open it. But I've been trying to pull the comments off the previous podcast episode comment section. So. Alright. Oh, little update on my toe for you guys. It still hurts a lot. Quite a bit. It's not black and blue anymore. Like, the bruising has gone away, but it still really hurts. So, in case you were wondering, yeah, I definitely think I sprained it or something. So, I'm going to read Catherine McGee's comment on the last episode. So much of what you said was relatable. I have no friends from high school anymore, and I always feel insecure about it because they're just so different from me now. The pillow thing made me laugh. I spent like $130 on a buckwheat pillow to help my neck pain. I feel like such a boring adult. Also, the other night I had a dream where I was eating broccoli and cauliflower, so the next day I made myself some for lunch. It's true, our bodies definitely know. Thanks for posting the podcast here for those of us without Spotify. You're welcome, Catherine. I know not everybody has the Spotify these days, which I don't know how, because I love Spotify for podcasts and for music. But I'm glad you think I'm relatable, because I honestly tend to have kind of a big issue with YouTubers that just become unrelatable, especially equestrian ones. And I just think that's a big thing of the people that I watch on my YouTube channel. They have to be in some way relatable to me, whether they're close in age to me and maybe are having the same life issues as me, or they're starting in a similar place as me, like, you know, from scratch. They didn't grow up in the show ring. They're not out winning thousands of dollars in the show ring or whatever. And if they are, great for them, but it's just not something that I can relate to in my life. It just, that whole realm is just more unattainable to me. So I don't, if I don't relate to them, I usually just stop watching them. Like, Raleigh Link 14, I used to watch her videos like when she was really young, because she's similar. I think she maybe is a year older than me, but I started watching her videos when she started, and I loved her videos and stuff. But as she grew, she just became so unrelatable, and now I don't know what she's doing now. I don't follow her on anything anymore, but she just became more and more unrelatable to me, like, as time went on. So I just stopped watching. And so yeah, that's I'm glad you think I'm relatable, because I really try to be, because we all out here, we're just hustling, trying, especially in this economy, trying to get by, trying to figure things out ourselves, trying to save an extra dollar. So thank you. As far as being a boring adult, same. I waited my whole life to be an adult, and now here I am, and I'm like, okay, this is it. This is it for the rest of my life. Like, I drink coffee in the morning, and I go to work, and I come home, and I go to bed. That's about it. But I'm glad you guys are enjoying the podcast. At least I think you are. If you are, let me know down below. And if you guys have any questions for the next podcast, definitely let me know. I've got some more topics that I want to talk about in future episodes, but if there's any you guys want to see in particular, definitely let me know down below so I can put them on my list. And make sure to leave a comment or a question for a comment of the day in the next episode as well. But I think I'm going to wrap this up. I'm at about 45 minutes on YouTube, a little bit less than that on Anchor. Sorry, guys. But I'll get at the hang of this the more that we do this. And I even remembered that it did that before I started and forgot. So my apologies. You know, time goes on. But anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll keep you updated on Bebe and when I get that vet appointment scheduled. Keep an eye out for the vlogs. I'll try and vlog as much as I can. And also leave some other recommendations down below for videos you guys might want to see that aren't vlogs, because I don't feel like my vlogs do that well. So If there's anything else you guys want to see, like for my beginner series or a Q&A or anything, you know, feed-wise, my feed routine, I haven't done that in a while. Let me know down below what else you guys want to see, and I'll see you guys in the next episode if you're listening, or I'll see you in the next video when you're watching on YouTube. Bye, guys.